personally has been just me over the years, getting to understand what it is that I need, and that's getting better with time. But yeah, no, collaboration wise, I'm loving the landscape of, and it's funny because it's taken me full circle, but the bar, restaurant, hotel route, I really love those because I know them from the behind the line route. And I've had friends that have taken that really, really scary leap to take their money they have in their accounts and go, I think we're going to try and do this, especially now. So to get to do something creative with them is really exciting. And then brands, again, that have, directions that they want to go that are a little bit thoughtful concerning the environment or human rights are helpful. But absolutely, I'll be the first to say that, like, I sometimes do cash grabs, and I'm just like, I'm going to do this thing and, like, I got to eat. I'm definitely, so I try and offset that, I guess is what I'm saying. There's somewhere I'm like, I'm going to do this thing and, like, I do that. But, yeah.
So there seems to be this vein through a lot of the different artists that we get to sit down and talk with, regarding things like the service industry. Like Jim Donovan was in kitchens for years just so he could surf during the day, which I unfortunately didn't get to have a sit down and talk with him, but Tyler was able to do it up in New York. But I think even Jay Nelson was talking about that. A bunch of different people, they're always just like, yeah, whatever I could do to stay in the water.
Yeah,
and
totally.
You're kind of lucky that it transitioned to a very creative realm.
It's a little... it's a little early for me to talk about, but Jim Donovan is the sand artist who does art in the field, outstanding in the field.
Outstanding field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Have you been to any of those dinners?
Yes.
Yeah. I have. They're delicious. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is a prime example of someone that that's a direction in which I look at and I go, like, that makes the most sense, and that's the ideal collaborator. As a person that definitely, and again, for him to have the ability to go, like, okay, I want to surf, but also, like, I want to be around people. I want to have community, but also, like, it has to somehow support me. And what does that look like? And I think, again, my partner and I constantly, we have a running joke where it's like, I think I'm too smart to make money, because sometimes we'll see what makes someone rich sometimes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that idea, like whatever it may be, silly bands or fidget spinners, and I'm like, those are skateboard bearings. Does anyone know that those are skateboard bearings? Like, why is that acceptable as an idea? That's $1 million idea. But I think ultimately what it is though is people thinking, like, what is something I like to do? And as I said, I loved working in restaurants. Every once in a while I'd get a crappy customer that was rude or whatever, but I liked certain aspects of that. But I also wanted to surf, and so if you figure out a way to, like, walk that line, I'm like, I'm sorry, that beats out me trying to figure out the ones and zeros of an NFT or crypto. But if you can do those things, heck, that's amazing. But yeah, he is a definite inspiration for that, because I wanted to attend one of those dinners. I think it's going to happen soon. But they did one here in Vermont this summer, and I was like, that's kind of how I was switched on to that, because I've always known of his work from Patrick Treff's films and seeing his work. And so when I was privy then once to put those two things together, I was like, oh, that's it. That's someone that's reached their flow state. That's it. They get
Have you watched the documentary on him yet?
Not in its entirety, no.
It's sick. It's like his artwork. I feel like it's like it spirals out, and then you just keep going, following his pattern, and keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It's pretty. Patrick did a really nice job on that. Yeah, for sure.
I had the pleasure of helping edit that down.
Oh, really?
It's not easy.
The pleasure of helping to edit that down.
The movie, I think it was Thread, and I was living, I want to say in Brooklyn at the time, and I think that was the first time I saw his work, and was just like, oh my gosh, this stuff is tremendous. And then again, now, like years later, putting together that I'm like, oh, this is a tangible way to go. You can do this, and I'm not saying that everyone should, but I'm like, some people, especially him, can do it and really, really do it right.
Yeah, Patrick and Jim are both real artists, and they
exactly.
understand their craft and they're committed to it. It's really nice to, get to speak to them on occasion. I'm pretty sure we can get you to a dinner.
I'm working on some stuff for Outstanding in the Field right now.
Thank goodness.
Figure
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trade some work for food. We'll work for food, you know.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. But yeah, we agreed to it, so I'm excited.
He's been doing some incredibly large, like, drawings with the bus, I think. Like, down, like, he did, like, one of the largest drawings ever, I think, in a desert, some salt flat. Yeah.
It's
doing those
crazy.
circles, but doing it, like, they're, like, miles across. It's, like, you know, from space, Nazca line-looking things. But anyway, I'm enamored with that work. I like it.
Oh, I love it. No, that's, again, I'm just so happy. Once you brought that up, I was like, exactly. Like, that's the... And it's hard, I think, for... Oftentimes, even for me when I was in school, to like think like, oh man, this is how it has to look. It has to be. You got to do it every single day, 9 to 5, 10,000 hours. Some people say 10 years is the other, I think, formula for it, in order for you to be like a legitimate thing. And I think I always, especially at the times working in the restaurants, where I felt like apprehensive to tell people I worked in the restaurant, you know. And I think now looking back at it, they're like, that's part of it. In fact, that actually became like where I was networking. Some of the best contacts I ever made was working in the restaurant. So like the advice that I got, I think, you know, people were like, well, you know, not until you make it your full-time gig is it your thing. No way. Like I for me anyway, like that's just not how it was. Like some of the best contacts and suggestions and advice and collaborators happened because I was like, well, here's your, you know, cocktail, but also like I do this. And the person's like, oh my gosh. We need that.
Who was it? Rothko had some of his best paintings hanging in New York City restaurants before they were considered great paintings. So, you know, you never know.
I wish I had gone in some of those. Yeah. That's in hindsight, yeah.
So, gonna have to wrap it up soon, but I have a couple. I have a couple questions here.
Here we go.
All right. One is, you mentioned in one of the videos you had an Aiken. Oh, surfboard? Is that correct?
Wow, that's such a deep cut. Yeah.
That's like the first board that my brother and I ever owned.
Oh man, so I feel really embarrassed saying that it ended up getting used as a prop for like a neighbor's Halloween. Like she.
No shame in it.
She dresses. Okay,
No
I was like,
shame.
she dresses up these wooden like chainsaw art bears. It's Maine, you know, it's Maine stuff.
Yeah.
She did a surfer, and I said, you know what, you can have this one as a prop. It gets used, but it's a prop now in October.
For our listeners,
it was a plastic surfboard.
Yeah, it's pre-NSP basically. It was the NSP board before any of that stuff was there. It was the early mid '90s. It was epoxy and, you know, plastic on the outside basically. And I remember we left ours out in the sun for a summer, just laying, you know, bottom facing up, and it ended up, you know, getting reverse rocker on it, you know.
It's kind of, did you would have known the Bic Surfboards?
Yes. Yes.
That came out, like Peter Pan, I think, up in our area was kind of like a rep or was sponsored by them, and so those were always around. But yeah, they were around a lot, and I think the Aiken for me reminded me of that because again, I found it like maybe 10 years ago, and actually it was in someone's like dumpster at the end of the summer, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. But they had done that. It had been laid out in the sun somewhere, and it had rippled. The plastic had rippled, and it had a little bit of a downward-facing dog rocker. But yeah, I'm happy that because I was like, man, I couldn't find them anywhere. I looked online, and no.
I got like an old surfer mag with ads in them and everything. They were sick, you know.
I wish I had found like a skip, but yeah, that's what I found.
They were sick.
When people are like, I found this lightning bolt in the dumpster, I'm like, oh, I found a weird gimmicky plastic thing, but it was
I bet
fun.
you'd be worth a lot of money now because it was kind of first of its kind.
Oh, please don't say that. See, that's it. That's it. It's the NFT. I was like, I don't know.
You should make an Aiken NFT board.
Yeah.
The next is I want to ask about your bath habit. You love taking baths, don't you?
Yeah. It is.
Tell us about your bath habits here. Chris, did you not know about this? Did you not know about
his... I did not know about this.
He's a big bath person.
I'm a very big bath person. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Well, it's pretty simple. I don't love getting super cold, even though I'm a person from New England, and everyone, when I tell them I'm from New England, like, you should be fine because you're from there. But I think I got really into it as like a little bit of a ritual after living in Japan for a period of time, and really seeing how that was like for a lot of people a daily activity to go to the onsens, and just like the public baths, to go. And my roommates where I lived in Kamakura like got me into it, and it was such a thing. And if you've been, you can go, and there's I don't know what you call it, dispensing machines where you can go get beers and snacks, and there's concessions, and you're hanging out like naked with your buds, but you're like out in these different bodies of water, and there's different temperatures. And I was like, why am I not doing this every day, like back in the States? And of course in New York you've got like the Russian baths and stuff, which are different but totally awesome. I love it all. And so I think it was I got back to the States, and at the time in Los Angeles too, the Korean spas were really exciting for me. I just love I love like a spa thing, like salt scrubs and all that stuff. So now my partner and I, we have a membership card to a really beautiful bathhouse that's in Maine that's stunning, but I also just chuck a bunch of salts and stuff in the tub here. It just
and if
feels,
you're desperate, Dr. Brommer's, right?
I mean, crap. I mean, there's so many things. I think peeling oranges and putting them in there are pretty amazing. If you don't want to deal with like a little bit of cleanup at the end, there's a lot of stuff you can do. But look out for yourself. I don't look out for myself in all the other ways, obviously, if you see me, but a bath, I'm like, I'm going to go in here and, take a surf mag and just scorch myself.
I see an illustrated book coming out of this.
Yeah. I see a collaboration with Bed Bath & Beyond.
I do a little bit of work with a really lovely soap company called Bathing Culture, and they're really into it, which are kind of like a hippie soap brand from like the SF area. But bathing as like and again, I always think of like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer's like, you can't be soaking in there with all your germs, and it's like you're a stew because all your juices, because he's obsessed with the pressurized shower head, and he gets the black market shower head. Yeah, well, I am not anti-shower, but I guess what I'm saying is I think a bath is hard to beat when you really want to, like, I don't know, listen to your heartbeat and chill out for a little bit. But
you're a relatively tall man. Do you have a extra large tub?
No. I'm kind of like a greyhound in a way, like a fat greyhound, because I don't mind getting small. It's not super comfortable, but I can do it. Yeah, they always say like greyhounds are the biggest small dog, because like they're kind of retractable. But I don't know. It's kind of like a thunder vest. Certain dogs get I like being a little bit. I love like those barrels, the ones that you'd see like in the westerns where they'd get like a light a fire and they've got a hot tub, and it's just like your barrel that you're in by yourself. I would love to have one of those. It would be filled with snow right now. But
I always get depressed getting out of the bathtub when I see how little water there is when I get out. It's like put a drop in and it's full.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah, you're much. If I remember correctly, you're tall. You're quite tall.
Yeah,
I'm
a full figure guy.
But I just think about it. Yeah.
I must ask, did you two overlap at Flagler at all, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I only went for 2 years, and then I transferred up to the new school. So I actually I wanted to get like a different opportunity for writing, which they didn't really have that great of a program for. But you overlapped with lots of people that I went to school with, so and they all hung back there too. Do you ever pee in the bath?
That's a really good question.
Because sometimes when you surf, you have that muscle reflex of just like letting it go, And
I will rather than answer that, and since we're cutting off now, but I will say I'm opened up to snowboarding a little bit more because I'm again in Vermont. I'm trying to like wrap my head around it, and I went snowboarding the other day, and I almost peed my